So, we talked about a lot here today. Let's get to the real deal. Like, how do you make money so you can have these customers make money and be successful? So how does your company or how does a media company make money?
Yeah, great question. I touched on it earlier a lot, but I'll go into a little more detail. So traditionally, when you're looking for creative, most companies will charge $200 an hour with a minimum hourly fee for that. Fair. Most people will charge an hourly fee for planning out the media schedule. Fair. And should be paid, right? It's earned.
Sure, it's a service.
With our company, we do the fee, we do the creative, no charge. We plan the whole plans, we do the strategic plan, no charge, because we want to earn the business, right? So we're willing to put skin in the game with the creative ideas, with the track record, with the research, with the plan, and get our guys on board, our team, our folks on board to buy that and let us lay in that plan.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how that works. So I've been in the industry for so long that I'm like special ops, right? I'm like the guy in Afghanistan who knows where all the caves are, right? I ask different questions. I know the industry, so I really get better rates and better position than anybody else because I make 4 phone calls in New York and I can buy the entire country, right, in a day. Any station, whether it's Lubbock, Texas, or New York City, right? So I'm in the space. I know the space. I know how much inventory, which is the number of commercials that are available in every single time period on every TV station in the country. So I know how many spots are available in the 6 o'clock news, in the 6:30 p.m. news. The network news is way different than the 6 a.m. news. So, that knowledge helps us. We negotiate the rates. We get the best deal for our client. I'm always shooting for a $10 cost per thousand or less. That's an important number, right? $10,000 cost per thousand for home improvement is a number you should always shoot for. And when we dig deep into some of the other tactics, you'll understand how important that is. But then, like I mentioned, we said you do a schedule for $1,000. We buy that schedule. I have to pay the TV station $850. We're 100% transparent. All my clients get exactly what we pay. You see everything.
So you're giving them your rates.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay.
Oh, they see everything. Plus, on digital, most digital companies charge 20, 30, 40, sometimes 40%, especially on the pay-per-click. If you're doing SEM pay-per-click and they're hitting your credit card, a lot of times they'll have a fee for that. And they're using the same software I am.
Right.
We charge 15%. But you see, if we spend $750 on pay-per-click, or $750 on social, or $500 on YouTube, you see exactly what we paid, and we add 15% to that, and that's what we get.
That's
Fully
how you
transparent. Same thing in streaming, right? So it's all right there. It's a 15%. There's our number. That's pre-tax. We pay everything out of that, and then what's left of that is our profit.
I'm assuming that's unique to you guys. Are most companies not doing that?
Not on digital. On digital, they're not. On traditional media, they are.
Okay.
Traditional media, radio, outdoor, out of home, wrapping a vehicle in a city or putting a billboard up or, direct mail, whatever it may be, 15% is the standard. Now, if you spend $100 million with us, that rate comes down.
I sure hope so.
Feel free. But on the digital, most folks are charging 20% minimum, 30% is usually the number, and sometimes it's just not really clear what they're charging. You might be paying $4 for a display and they're buying it for $1 and they're charging you $3. That's a pretty good markup. Right?
Transparency is always good, obviously, and obviously you're going to be teaming up. We do that with our contractors. We partner with them, right? And that's you're looking for a partnership, and that's just not a sales deal. So as we were kind of talking about this, thanks for being the first guy that you're my experiment. Trying to bring things that are related to our business, not necessarily related directly to what Target Sales sells. You were talking about something I had no idea what it is. You talked about posting in media. What is posting in media?
That's a great question, and it's something that you all should know, especially if you're buying anything yourselves directly, buying radio, buying television, buying cable, even outdoor, or billboards, whatever it might be. So the vendor is going to tell you, here's my rate, and here's how many people that I'm reaching in the 5 o'clock news. So you're going to pay $500. You're going to reach 35,000 women, 35 plus, at our 5 o'clock news. Okay. Well, there's a rating service out there. There's two. There's Nielsen, there's ComScore. And every day it tells you how many people you actually reach with the broadcast. And that's what our industry uses as a barometer for, did we get what we paid for, right? So if you paid us X dollars for 35,000 women 35 plus, and the ratings only said that you got 22,000, that's a big difference, right? So they're going to owe you 13,000 women. That's posting. You said 35,000. It only came in at 22,000, and you multiply that times all the spots that you ran, and we look at that. So if you were after 100,000 women 35 plus, and you paid for 100,000, and you only got 67,000, they owe you impressions. So either you're going to get a cost per thousand rebate, you're going to get money back, or you're going to get a bunch of free spots to cover that. That's the value of an agency. We look at things like that to make sure that you're getting what you paid for, because believe me, there's some fugazi out there, right?
Yeah,
There's
sure.
some people giving you numbers and saying, here's your cost per thousand, this is all you need, this is what we're going to get. It's measured.
Right.
We measure it, and we hold them accountable to make sure that you get what you paid for.
Well, that makes sense. Well, it's clear as mud for me, but that's okay. As long as you know it and understand, that's great. So how did you learn this? This is kind of two questions. Like, how did you learn this? Obviously, what's your background? I'm going to kind of talk with you a little bit about something about the Tampa Bay Lightning. Obviously, I'm a big Lightning fan. In fact, me and Marianne will be at the game tonight.
Yeah.
But how did you learn so much about media? And could you we haven't talked about your background. Unless obviously I feel like you have a lot of knowledge. Where did you obtain all that?
Yeah, I've been in sales my whole life. My dad was a traveling salesman. My mother was the Avon lady. My career started out selling dictation equipment door to door in Miami. Briefcase in this hand, messenger kit in this hand, and just cold calling all day, every day. So you kind of worked on your game, and it was great training for me. I loved every second of it. I wish we could go back to that, but with security these days, you can't go beat on a door to save your life, right? It's tough. So the days of cold calling, are kind of over. But I got recruited by a direct mail company down in Miami and did really well and got promoted to Tampa. And then had another recruiter move me into television. I went to work for WFLA News Channel 8, the NBC affiliate here in Tampa. Was there 14 years, moved through the ranks. And then recruited in Miami. And so Dan mentioned Lightning. At one point, I was hired out of the blue as a senior vice president of sponsorship sales for the Tampa Bay Lightning hockey team. We had to have won a Stanley Cup that very first year in 2004. So I have a Stanley Cup ring. I was in the parade. I'm like Forrest Gump in the White House.
That's fantastic.
But I did already know television. I knew media and direct mail. Then I got an opportunity to be in sports marketing. So I really understand how to negotiate a professional sports deal, a local sports deal, a sponsorship deal, television, radio, direct mail, outdoor. I'm a negotiator. That's what I do for a living, right? Back in television in Tampa, in Washington, D.C., in Norfolk, Virginia Beach, in Charlotte. And then when the opportunity came for me to have an agency or be a part of an agency and then have it break off, so it's been very successful. So now it's an independent entity. We're off and running, right? So I've been very fortunate to have some very good mentors and some great coaches along the way, and I'm inquisitive. My degree's in economics. I'm a supply and demand guy. I understand numbers. I love the numbers, and that's how I work. And I love to negotiate, right? That's my favorite thing in the world to do, and that's what we do, right? So it's been a great run. I love what I'm doing right now. I love the home improvement industry. I love legal. It's just the home improvement category is definitely the place that I like the most because it's the easiest to get an owner of an industry introduced to a family or to a neighborhood or to a city and make them the person that people want to go to. We know how to do that. I've done that 10,000 times over 30 years.
That's fantastic. Sounds like you were blessed just like me to be in an industry that you love.
Yeah.
You know, I love what I do. I love the people I have around me, the people I've been able to meet, the vision I've had, you know, for this company. It's been fantastic, and you know, I could tell that just by talking to you, and obviously known you for a long time, so I know you're passionate. So I think that's great. I'm going to ask you another question here. So we talk a lot of facts and figures and data and all that stuff just in your head because you know it, because that's what you do. How is research done on this? I mean, how important is research? I'm one of those guys that I'm a little bit of a control freak. You wouldn't know that by knowing me, would you? But I'm a control freak. I'd like to know. So if I'm a customer, a contractor, a distributor, a manufacturer, you know, how do you do your research and what does that look like and how important is that?
Research is critical, and not everyone has the patience for it, but there are resources that are out there that I use from the vendors. So I've been using Marshall Marketing, which a lot of you HVAC folks, if you've ever worked at a TV station, you've probably been exposed to it. They have 800 respondents in most markets, right? And that's twice as many as Nielsen has meters in a market, right? So it's fresh research every year, and they'll ask the TV station gets to pick the questions. And this is just one example. There's a lot of Simmons. There's a lot of other companies do this, but the research is fresh, and it talks about what they look for in. First of all, that 8% question I said of HVAC.
Yeah.
How many people are getting new HVAC units in 2024? That came from that, right?
Gotcha.
What do you like to see? Well, we like to see someone that has it, where everyone kind of wears the same shirt. We like to see a name tag. We like to see their name, right? We like to see where they're from when they walk in, right? The community in the market will tell you what they like and what their recall is of different companies in town, and if they intend to buy something, what mediums do they use? Are they watching YouTube all day? Are they,
right.
they just on social media? They still read the newspaper? Who knows?
Right.
But the research will tell us everything, and that is the roadmap for how we work on our creative, for what programs we buy, for what tactics we use to talk to the customer, when they'll be in the market, what we're going to say to them, and how we're going to get them to respond to us. So, I'm big on research. I can tell you what sports programming they like. Maybe your customers in this market love boxing. Maybe they love horse racing. The research will tell us,
Gotcha.
and that's important to us, you and me.
So interesting, like how does all of this change with cutting the cord, Spectrum or Verizon? And I'm a YouTube TV guy at home. You mentioned that's what made me think the question. How does that affect how you drive a plan or a marketing plan in a market? Because it's changing. There's a lot of apps and online services and that kind of stuff. How does that change?
Well, it's changing. You're right, and it's the only constant in any market is change. Right? We know that's what happens, and I've had to adapt to that my entire life. Fortunately, I've been with big broadcasters that made us adapt. Right, so we couldn't just sell a spot in the Today Show. We had to also add all email marketing and display ads and video and social, and we had to add all that stuff. So the streaming industry, 50% of the market is streaming right now. Right, but the streaming industry is only getting about 25% of the money. So the money hasn't caught up with the number of people that are streaming yet, but it's coming. But then you have to understand streaming. I did one of the first streaming deals in the United States with the Chevy deals in Washington, D.C. when it first came out, right? And a lot of things we promised that we could do, we couldn't do. But I was a victim in that one. But now we can do it. And so I know the streaming industry very, very well. And there's 3 ways to get ads inserted in the streaming. Number one, if you buy the network. So if you bought the NFL from CBS, your commercial will get streamed on Tubi or Pluto or YouTube or whatever, wherever they're consuming it, that will go out. How many of us are buying network? Not any. The second tier is if you go and do deals with the NFL and with the Today Show, and you go do deals directly with the programs and the providers of those programs, and you go and buy inventory, and you own that inventory, and then you resell it. That's level 2. No one's doing that except us. Hold that thought.
Okay.
Then there's tier 3, where everybody else in the world is. And if you're buying streaming now, you're going through what's called the trade desk, right? And you say, I want this demographic profile with these interests and this zip code, whatever it might be, and here's my budget, and I'm paying anywhere from, $18 to $42 on a cost per thousand basis, run by a buyer using the trade desk and bidding and trying to outbid and run my commercials, okay? That's where the space is now. My company uses AI, right? So we're level 2, right? So we have access to all that inventory early, and we use AI, artificial intelligence, to run the spots. And our spots, we'll increase the number of spots to try and get an outcome, not just the cost per thousand.
Okay.
Right? We're running them to try and get them to do a form fill or to call you. We want results. So I may pay a penny a commercial based on this because AI is driving the response, right? But streaming is real. People are using it. There's still some broadcast is important. Cable's in real trouble. It's not bad. I don't use it anymore. I would rather have broadcast than streaming.
Right.
But it's you have to know what you're doing, and there's a lot of different screens that you can end up on with streaming, and you have to be in programs that are brand safe. Sometimes you don't always know where your spots can air, and that's important. So it's a real thing. We understand it. We're happy to teach you more about it. If you want to, just contact me, and we can make sure that you're going down the right path on that. But if you're going to look at streaming in 2024, I will pitch myself and our company for that.
There's a lot, I had no idea how in-depth all this is. I knew marketing is not just a simple thing that you go out and, you put a plan together and execute it. You got to have specialists that know what they're doing. You kind of talked about that, being able to get out there and take in the right direction. Is there anything else that you would think that the HVAC industry as a whole, contractors, manufacturers, distributors, consumers, they're buying it. What else do they need to know about marketing?
Well, it's not terribly difficult when it comes to what the consumer market sees and your message. What's hard is getting over the fact that you're going to have to spend a little money to be present, right? You have to use the airwaves, and you have to use different tactics called advertising to get people to know you. They have to get to know you. If they don't, then your pay-per-click and your SEO and your social, it's heavy. It's just not as effective as it could be, right? And there are economies of scale that go with kind of spreading it out. And here's a great example. If you ran a direct mail piece, okay, on a Wednesday, direct mail comes in. For direct mail, 97% of people look at the piece of direct mail for relevance, see if it's relevant for them. What's replaced direct mail? Not replaced yet, but email is another one.
Yeah.
But if you do your direct mail campaign or your email campaign, and then you also run television, right, or radio or streaming the day before, the day of, and the morning after that piece hits, then you increase the probability of success there by 400%. So it makes sense to have a formula to use to make the fruit smoothie taste great, right? And use the different elements so that your finished product is good. And the strategy around that, is just important. So spend the money, do it right, introduce yourself to the market, get something going at the top of the funnel, so when it comes time to the bottom of the funnel, the AC's broke, they have to call somebody, make sure they've seen or heard from you already in the past.
Gotcha.
Make sure you introduce yourself, and if you just do that, I don't care if you do it with kids' soccer shirts, sponsoring every team in the market. Whatever you're going to do, own it, right? Pick a category, pick a tactic, go after it, be strong, and stay there, and make sure you introduce yourself to the market.
So, if you are out marketing yourself as a contractor, I think being different in the market makes, like the guy you were talking about in your neighborhood.
Yeah.
He was different. That's
Yeah.
why you recognized him, right? I'm sure there's different programs on what level they spend, what level of commitment they have. It's a percentage of sales. We need to get into all that. But being different is the key, right? And so I'm sure you couldn't do this like, I know maybe you can. You can't do this for 10 companies in Tampa, right? You can't do this for, you don't go to market, this is not like a volume thing. It's find the right partner to grow together, right? So I don't know. We talked a little about this early on. That was intriguing to me, was that you don't bring in, you'll go with one HVAC guy in a market, you go with one plumber or electrical, other trade guys, which you've already done, have had some tremendous success. You go with lawyer firms, I know some of we talked about that. So that's important, I think, to note.
Yeah, it is. And like I say, there's 7 markets in Florida. We'll take one what we call conquest advertiser, meaning if you're doing more than just digital, we can handle a lot of digital, because again, that's the cost of doing business. We're the electric company. We want to handle your website, we want to handle your SEO, we want to handle your search engine marketing, and we can do that for all of you. And it's just keywords, and it's just, we can handle more than one in the market for that. But when it comes to top of the funnel stuff, conquesting new customers, going after those 165,000 people that are going to say they're going to get new HVAC units in 2024, then yeah, we only work with one partner per market on that, and it has to be an annual. There's a minimum spend
Right.
based on the market.
That's reasonable.
And then we go to work on that. But I'm friends with everyone in the industry, so if you like what you're hearing, and at least it's triggered something, and I may not have a spot for you in Tampa. I do know folks that can help.
Well, I would like anybody to reach out to Target Sales or to you. We'll have all that information for everybody too. Enjoyed this conversation, my friend.
Yeah.
Easier than I thought it was going to be. Because I know you so well. Love you, man. It's been great. Thanks for your time, and love your passion and your energy. Really looking forward to seeing what we can develop together, and I hope this is helpful, to the industry. So thank you, Todd. Appreciate you, bro. Thanks, man.